We were left asking this question: what advice does Papa give Cassie? And I really like the advice that he has to give her. I know that Papa and Mama, for me personally, are like parenting goals because they give really good advice. But he basically tells Cassie that what happened to her was unjust, so he validates her feelings and everything, but he kind of puts it into the perspective of what they're dealing with as far as like racism goes. So he says, like, there's a difference between what you want to do versus what you can live with doing. And I like that he tells her, like, I wanted to go after Mr. Sims and really get revenge for you, but knowing that, like, if I did that, everybody in our family would have to pay the price, that's not something I could live with. So he said, so although I hated it, he's like, I understood that I had to push it aside for the time being for the sake of the whole family. So he kind of tells her, like, you have to understand that you're going to face situations in life where you're going to have to really weigh the consequences and ask yourself if you can live with that decision. And what I really like is that he kind of leaves it up to, not kind of, but he leaves it up to Cassie to understand and decide whether or not her situation with Lily and Jean is worth taking a stand on. But I like this part. He says, I want you to think real hard on whether or not Lily and Jean's worth taking a stand about, but keep in mind that Lily and Jean probably won't be the last person to treat you this way. So it's really sad to kind of give that lesson to your kid that they're going to have to deal with racist people in the future, and at this point there's no getting rid of them. So it's a good valuable lesson he teaches her. Okay, so we were left with Claude being ashamed. Okay. So we know right now, going back to where we were, TJ just went to the Wallace store. He's upset that he got caught cheating, and now we have the rest of the people. Y'all go on, I said. I gotta wait for Lily and Jean. Cassie. I'll catch up with ya, I said before Stacy could lecture me. Here, take my books, will ya? He looked at me as if he should say something else, but decided not to. He pushed the younger boys on and followed them. When Lily and Jean appeared, I sighed thankfully that only Jeremy was with her. It could be today for sure. Jeremy, who seemed to be as disappointed in me as a little man, hurried on to catch Stacy. That was fine too. I knew he would. I took Lily and Jean's books, and as we sauntered down the road, I only half listened to her. I was sweeping the road, looking for the deep wooded trail I had selected earlier in the week. When I saw it, I interrupted Lily and Jean apologetically. Excuse me, Miss Lily and Jean, but I got a real nice surprise for you. Found it just the other day down the woods. For me? Questioned Lily and Jean. Ah, you's a sweet thing, Cassie. Where you say it is? Come on, I'll show you. I stepped into the dry gully and scrambled onto the bank. Lily and Jean hummed back. It's all right, I assured her. It ain't far. You just gotta see it, Miss Lily and Jean. That did it. Grinning like a Cheshire cat, she crossed the gully and hopped onto the bank. Following me up the overgrown trail into the deep forest, she asked, You sure this is the way, little Cassie? Just a bit further, up ahead there. Ah, here it is. We entered a small dark clearing with hanging vines totally hidden from the road. Well, where's the surprise? Right here, I said, smashing Lily and Jean's books on the ground. Why, what'd you do that for? Lily and Jean asked me, more startled than angry. I got tired of carrying them, I said. This what you brought me all the way down here for? Well, you just best get untired and pick 'em up again. Then, expecting that her will would be done and no more than that from her, she turned to leave the glade. Make me, I said quietly. What? The shock on her face was almost comical. Said make me. Her face paled, then red with anger, she stepped daintily across the clearing and struck me hard across the face. For the record, she had hit me first. I didn't plan on her hitting me again. I flailed on her, tackling her with such a force that we both fell. After the first shock of my actually laying hands on her, she fought as best she could, but she was no match for me. I was calm and knew just where to strike. I punched her in the stomach and buttocks. I twisted her hair, but not once did I touch her face. She, expending her energy in angry, nasty name-calling, clawed at mine, managing to scratch twice. She tried to pull my hair, but couldn't, for I had purposely asked Big Ma to braid it in flat braids against my head. When I had pinned Lillian Jean securely beneath me, I yanked unmercifully on her long, loose hair and demanded an apology for all the names she had called me and for the incident in Strawberry. At first she tried to be cute. "Ain't gonna apologize to no nigger," she sassed. "You gonna be bald, girl? Or you wanna be bald, girl?" And she apologized. For herself and for her father, for her brothers and for her mother, for Strawberry and Mississippi. And by the time I finished stroking her head, I think she would have apologized for the world being round had I demanded it. But when I let her go, and she had sped safely to the other side of the clearing with the trail in front of her, she threatened to tell her father. "You do that, Lillian Jean? You just do that, and I'm going to make sure all your fancy friends know how you keep the secret. But you won't be learning no more secrets after that." "Cassie, you wouldn't do that, not after I trusted you. You mutter one word of this to anybody, Lillian Jean?" I said, attempting to narrow my eyes like Papa's. "Just one person, and everybody at Jefferson Davis is going to know who you crazy about and all your other business. And you know I know. Besides, if anybody ever did find out about this fight, you'd be laughed clear up to Jackson. You here going on 13, getting beat up by a 9-year-old? I was starting up the trail feeling good about myself when Lillian Jean asked bewildered, "But Cassie, why? You was such a nice little girl." I stared at her astonished. Then I turned and left the forest, not wanting to believe that Lillian Jean didn't even realize that it had all been just a game. Okay, so that's where we're going to stop. So, good moment that Cassie gets her revenge. And now we know why she has been nice to Lillian Jean all this time. So, I was kind of waiting for that moment to find out what the revenge was, so we didn't highlight. So now would be a good time to highlight everything that Cassie does in order to get revenge. Okay, so I'm going to start up a little bit more towards at the beginning. Okay, so we start with her revenge being that she tells them she lies to Lillian Jean at the beginning, which is pretty good. She tells her, like, "I've been thinking about it, I don't want to be mad, and you're right, I should have seen things all along. I am who I am, and you're who you are." And then Lillian Jean likes her, like, apology. And then she starts taking her books. And she starts telling her, "Now I know what I gotta do." Okay, so then if we skim down to the next time she talks to Lillian Jean, it's kind of a ways down, so let's find it. Okay, here we go. So now we are on page 7, where she says, "For the month of January, I was Lillian Jean's slave, and she thoroughly enjoyed it." Okay, so that's important. Okay, so then she would wait for her, she would carry her books, she would brag that she had a little colored friend, and Miss Lillian would love it when she would call her Miss Lillian Jean. We have that Lillian Jean confided all her secrets to her. We know that, like, basically this is a big part of her revenge, right? Like, Cassie's smiling along through it. Okay, and then we finally get why she does this all for. Then she tells her that she wants to show her a surprise. And it starts with her just smashing her books on the ground. And then from there, when Lillian Jean tells her to pick them up again, Cassie basically says, "Make me." And then from there, Lillian Jean hits her first. She says, red with anger, she stepped daintily across the clearing and struck me hard across the face. And then from there, once she hits Cassie, Cassie hits her back. And then this is like the whole exchange of being hit, right? We know that part of her exchange was, or part of her plan was like her hair. Lillian Jean wasn't able to pull her hair. Okay, what I really like about her revenge, though, is that she thought it through, and she knows that Cassie basically tells her you're not going to say anything, because if you say something, I'm going to tell all of your secrets to the whole school. So this is going to be the one I choose for my piece of evidence. Okay. Answer number 1. So in the text, it says, okay, and this is coming from page 11. So this means that Cassie knows Lillian Jean's secrets and could reveal them to Lillian Jean's classmates. This shows that Cassie got revenge because, okay, and then this is where you should be telling us, why did she get revenge? And hopefully you're remembering that incident with Lillian Jean and Strawberry, because we know that it was very humiliating for Cassie. So why would this be the perfect revenge for her, knowing that she's 9 years old, first of all. Second of all, Lillian Jean has an upper hand since she's white and Cassie's black. So why is this a great revenge that Cassie's is able to get? Okay, so we finished our task for today, and good job following along.